Tektronix scope here, one of the solid-state ones with a liquid crystal display. But again, that's over by the main operating position, and it's got a crappy little antenna stuck in the front of it. And one of these days, I'm gonna get real, and I'm gonna build a little coupler. And stick a diode in it and get her done. But one of these days, you know how that goes.
Well, you know what I do? Whatever antenna I'm not on, I use it as the input to the scope. I mean, that's all I really need, and cut the sensitivity way down, and it doesn't pick up anything else.
Yeah, that's okay. But I got remote switching here. I got the Emertron switches on the desk. And then I have the switching boxes underneath, so it's not really easy for me to do something like that. But that's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's complicated, but it sounds like it really works. Joe's running an MXL dynamic mic, Bob, that I had not heard before. I knew that they made condenser mics, but not that dynamic, and I think it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does. Actually, I'm using one of the Chinese BM700 mics. It runs into the computer here, and then on into the Flex.
Does that have some processing options?
For that with QSP.
Say again, Joe.
Actually, it's probably my fault because I am going into the Flex, and I've got the foot switch here with the boom with the BM700 on it, and I'm used to back in the old days contesting and stuff, and the foot switch unkeying. I usually cut off probably the last 50 milliseconds of transmission, so I gotta get the hang of keeping the foot switch key down for a second after I'm done talking.
Yeah, it sounds like the bird again.
I don't know, man. It's got to be latency, and I'm not using Wi-Fi here. I'm running Ethernet right into the hub, and that goes right into the Flex. So I shouldn't really have a latency here, but I am going through the smart SDR software, so it's going out and back. That's probably where the latency is.
I think he scrambled his DNA being a contester, and now he can't get back.
Yeah, I did that for a lot of years, man. When I got off AM back in I don't know what, 88 or 89 or whatever. Yeah, I got into contest. I was into contesting before too, but yeah, I got kind of heavy duty into it, and then yeah, I kind of spent too many weekends on it. It's kind of like I've done it all. What's there to prove? So now I'm back on AM,
Ah, yes. Joe had asked me earlier whether I worked any of the upper band stuff. You been on 15 and 10 yet?
Negative. I listen on 286, and I listen on 420. I know Dirk has been up on 420. He's talked about it on 40 meters in the mornings. But anyway, hey, I'm looking at the clock right now, and I can't stick around. I got to hit the post office before they close up. I got like 4 things for me to ship out today. So I'm gonna send it around to you guys. Nice to finally talk to you, Paul, after a lot of years, and good times. And nice to meet you, Joe. So WA3BJB with W1GFH. This is W2ENY.
Yeah, I hope you're on more often with us there, Bob. Sounded good and getting back into the pace of things. I'm glad I could connect you there with Joe. He's been a presence here on 40 with that good sounding Ranger, and it's always good to run across him too. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, very good. Nice to meet you, Bob. I'm going to do the same pretty soon here myself, getting around to 4 o'clock time. But let's see. Question you asked me, Paul, and I did not follow up. Let's see. The California California plan for me was about 1987 through 2007 or 2008. So it's at least 20 years, if not 21. I was out there, but my early years were in New England, so the land of rusty cars, and boy, my teenage years were filled with many, many rusty cars.
Yeah, well, the Datsun would never have survived. Matter of fact, even that Volvo ES that I had was a rust bucket, and it did not have a frame. It was a unibody car, so the doors would start to sag after a while. Well, all right, I'm going to pull the plug too, go inside and see what's going on in the house. Glad I ran across you, Joe, and we could visit for a while, talk cars, talk radios, talk audio, talk mic. Concord's delivering a good signal down here, and then Bob checks in. I've got him in my card file. Back when I used to be, I had enough utility to actually make cards on you guys and put them in the box. Now it's just scraps of paper all over the place, so that's progress, right? The W2ENY having signed, W1GFH on the way out the door, WA3VJB.
Yeah, before you run, Paul, speaking of cards and keeping track of AMers, it kind of reminded me of what Mike DeRoe used to do on the West Coast there. He was sort of the unofficial scoutmaster of the AM gang. Do you know Mike?
Oh, yeah, KO6NM. I've got one of his audio processors, the DAP610.
Oh, wow. So, no wonder. No wonder you sound so good. Yeah, Mike was kind of the anchor presence for the little AM group on the West Coast there when I was involved with it. And, of course, his specialty of bringing home broadcast transmitters from near and far, and turning the hose on them in his driveway to clean them out.
Yeah, I've seen that done. There's either YouTube video or stills that have circulated. There's a Bauer 707 with a garden hose up top and a stream of water at the bottom.
Yeah. So, I don't know why broadcast transmitters don't seem to be as popular here on the East Coast as they were on the West Coast. Although maybe it's changed in the last 10 or 15 years since I've been there. But boy, there were a lot of broadcast transmitters out there.
I think they got the early jump when those transmitters were headed out the back door of the transmitting facility and into the waiting pickup trucks of the hobbyists. We got onto that about 25 years ago and saved a number of them, but it seemed like the West Coast had a head start. I've had several of them over the years. Still have one. But yeah, it's nice that they save them. But as they get older, and Mike, I think, is up in his late 70s now, these guys aren't as on the air as they ever were. And he sold his place in Wisconsin, or he's never on from there. But I worked him on 80 meters when he had his place in the upper Midwest.
Oh, so has he moved from Los Angeles?
Well, he always had a place in California, and I think it was like a second home in Wisconsin. And so, I mean, the DeRoe factory that later went on to make those audio level indicators when he got out of the audio processing world is still in California. So that's actually also where the DeRosium is, where he's got all his old broadcast consoles and the broadcast transmitters that he's accumulated over the years. The ones that are up and ready for display are at the DeRosium.
Yeah, first I've heard of that. I just remember the stuff at his house. And, it's on the ground floor, so the better to roll transmitters in and out of. Anyway, yeah, nice to talk to you, Paul. Good to run into you. And, I will look for you down here below 7290. This is sort of a good spot, 7275, 7280 in the afternoons. And we'll continue the conversation about some of the characters on the West Coast. I'm sure you know them. Over to you, WA3VJB.